and I'm just not interested in doing any of this shit, to be honest. This is exactly how I feel. I've been having to going to the hospital and having x-rays and that sort of shit, so I'm really not interested in playing smarts, plus it's horrible outside and it's cold. But we can't sit indoors all day, can we? We've got to do something. I've been looking at... Somebody emailed me like last month and said that he wanted to fit one of these. It's the boot sub that goes in the 453. Now normally when you have that, you have the JBL amplifier that fits on the dashboard and plugs in. People seem to think that they can just buy the amp and all that sort of stuff and it plugs in. Of course it doesn't fucking plug in, the wiring's just not there. So, because that's apparently JBL, so I'd stick with the JBL theme. I've only owned this for about 5 years, so you probably can't even get them anymore, but that is the GX A602. And the only reason I needed a 602, the two part of the 602 is 2 channels. And normally you can either do like left or right, but as I'm doing a sub, you just wire it to one that end, one on that end. And it's shown in the diagram. Now normally a subwoofer is just a single sub, but they've tried to be clever at it.
Still a stupid. It's such a fine line between stupid and clever.
Yeah, this is the sub that's in that box. Looks fine, but then there's another connector on that side. It's a dual voice coil, which is bullshit really, because that means one speaker has to move with 2 inputs, which doesn't really make any sense.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Mind you, bass it doesn't really ever sort of sweep from side to side, so it's only ever one-sided thing. So I considered, I've had this a while, a separate sub. This has only got 1 input, as a sub should do. So I'm considering fitting that in there instead. The drawback, of course, is the depth of it doesn't look too bad. You think that's fine, but that is an issue because it's fucking massive.
That's a huge bitch.
Normally there's another little cage inside here, and I've had to cut it out, otherwise the big one won't go in. But cut it out, it fits in fine. So I don't know whether or not to go for the dual voice coil one, which would be wired like that with your one left, one right, or just go for the single voice coil one and go like that. I started looking over there because I thought that's where the fitting kit was, because well, that's where the speakers were, but no. I thought, oh, maybe they're in some of these boxes, but no.
Nope.
They were up here somewhere. Lucky enough I had it on the list. So that is the bracket that bolts in, and you have to cut a hole in the boot side plastic. And at the same time I actually bought the side speaker holders, but I don't plan to use those. So brackets, an adapter. That's the adapter there. I've already screwed it in place or riveted it in place. Not really necessary, but it makes it a lot easier if you've got the thing, because then you can cut that off and wire that to the amplifier. So all of that, all 4 of those came to about 62 quid, including VAT, in 2019. Good luck getting them now.
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
The way that Smart have been cutting back on all the parts, the chance of getting any parts these days is next to nothing. I think what I'm going to do, because I chose this one for a couple of reasons, obviously because it had 2 inputs, which I might have needed, might not. But it's also got, that's low level input, the RCA, and high level input, which means you can put the speaker inputs directly into it. And there's even a little wiring connector there, which is handy. Bass boost in case you need to boost your bass. And lots of crossovers. I've got a choice, depending on which car I fit to. It can be easy or it can be less than easy. Anyway, I've had to order wiring kit for that. It's not going to use a standard low gauge wire. Needs something a bit more beefy to wire it in. So until that turns up tomorrow, which will be later in the video, we'll get the car in, take the side panel off and cut a big hole in it for that. I know that the audio is going to sound a bit shit because I haven't been out for so long that none of my 3 microphones are even charged up. So I'm just have to boost the audio and you'll have to listen with headphones in or something. This goes behind there. There's a little bracket there that the sub hooks over. Got little rubber grommet things there so it stops it rattling around. There's a little quarter turn fastener, a little half turn fastener there. So obviously you need to be able to take it out to be able to get to the engine. We need to remove that to cut the, hopefully there's some sort of marking on the back that gives me a bit of an idea as to where I'm cutting. There you go, top panel off, bottom panel off. There's the fuzzy rug. This is the bottom panel that would normally fit in like that. Hopefully under this, yeah, there you go, almost a rectangle there. That'll need to be cut out, and there you go, that'll need to be cut out as well. That'll be the shape of that, and that'll be the opening for there. And then finally, see a little square there, not this square, that square there. You have to imagine what that corner's going to look like, because if you look at that, it angles backwards at the bottom because that angles that way. And unless you cut that out, you can't plug the fucking thing in. It'll be fairly obvious where it goes because there are already fittings in there. So we've got a nice little stud at the bottom there, stud at the back next to the seat belt, a stud underneath there, one facing backwards that you can't really see. Get in there. So you need to find a nuts that will hold those down. Probably ideally might want to stick like a rubber pad in between those two and use a washer as well. When you look at the size of that, once you put a nut in, it's not really going to do much. So nuts, washers and rubber washers behind there. Can't hurt, can it? Right, rubber washers, standard washers, 3 nylocks, couldn't find 4. Rock solid. Now if you haven't got the speaker system and the amp and sub, that will not plug into anywhere. You can look around as much as you like. He says looking around as much as he likes, but it will not be there. However, what will be there if we use it is a spare earthing lead, earthing point at the that goes onto the chassis. So depending on where we put the amplifier, we can use that to ground it. As neatly as possible, cut out the little windows. Just like that. You might want to spend a little bit more time on it. I should do that one. Nice. Messy. Bored.
Boring.
Right, that's the top one in. All I can say about the hole is it's generous. Let's say that. I mean, there's a little bit of adjustment on this bracket, so you could quite easily cut like 5mm inside that hole, and that'll still fit through there. Right, I'm back, day 2, renewed vigour. Would you like to see my renewed vigour? Just had the all my wires and stuff delivered from Amazon. First delivery as well, it's handy. This red, actually it looks like those strawberry laces. It looks good on the outside. That's a weak source, but lucky enough we're not putting too much power through it. I can tell you what, for considering that's the cable, that fuse is overkill. Yeah. Anyway, so we need to somewhere back there. There's a grommet. We need to pass a cable through the grommet into the car. And I'm pretty sure it's hidden behind there somewhere. I might have to look on Evolution. I'm pretty sure that awesome geezer's put it on there somewhere. Anyway, once the cable's been pushed into there, I can crimp the connector, which will go on the plus. Obviously, don't connect it there until the last minute, because otherwise you're waving a bit of wire around with 12 volts going through it. Now I have to run through to there, where the amplifier will be stuck. I'll probably stick it under the seat. It's probably easy enough, isn't it? A little bit of hook side Velcro works really, really well on the carpet of smart cars. Holds everything down. Then that will be the earth cable. Now that is fucking dog shit. Look at that. How short that is. Now lucky enough there's going to be enough of that, so I'll probably just cut off what I don't need of that and use that as an earth cable. And that'll go from the earth to that one now. Again, I've got these will crimp on. That'll be for the battery. That'll be for the earth. These will go. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'll go to ground and 12 volts. And all you got to do is the awkward one, remote. Now the remote, this piece of shit here, is a switched live. So when you turn the car on, it tells the amp to turn on as well. Now the easiest place to get that from is there. So you can take a wire out the bottom and straight to wherever you put your amplifier. Otherwise you're going to have to mess around underneath the dashboard where the fuses are, and yeah, they don't really play ball that well. So no, I can't have, oh yes I do, yes I have excuses. This connector, obviously I haven't got this connector, but I need to connect to it. Now we've still got to decide whether or not I'm using the standard 2 coil or the upgraded 1 coil. So what I'm going to do is I've got these little tiny little spade connectors. I think they're like 4.7mm spade connectors. I've already pushed one on there. I'll be able to create a connector that connects onto that, and once it's all in there and they're not touching each other, flood it with a bit of hot glue and that'll stop them moving. All right, it's up to you how you connect these together. What I normally do, crimp it slightly and then throw a bit of solder onto it. Now when you're soldering stuff, don't put the solder onto the soldering iron. Heat the thing up that you want to put the solder on, and then put the solder onto the thing you want to solder. It's not bad. Not perfect, but it's alright. Certainly not coming out. Now they do give you some heat shrink. That is feeble. The size of it. So what we need is something better. That's suitable diameter. Right, that's on. A bit of heat. You can use a flame if you want, but to keep moving, otherwise you set it on fire. And I don't think a hairdryer will be hot enough. Not that I own a hairdryer because I don't own any hair. Maybe I should go and get a hair transplant like Chris Slicks did. Make a video out of it. Right, now we just need to feed this end through the grommet we took out, obviously making a little hole, and pull it through the car, leaving just enough of that. We can connect it to the positive thing in the battery. I've made a little hole in the grommet, pushed it through left there, 30 centimetres, 12 inches. Now I've just got to feed that end into the hole and pull it through into the cabin. Right, I've jumped forward a little bit. I gave myself enough slack for the put the amplifier behind there. I've added the connector. And the part that I cut off, unfortunately all that's red. You can still use it as an earth. So I put the correct connections on that as well. Now, that shit can go in the bin. Now we just need to add the remote cable and then wire in from those 4 to these 4. Right, we're going to access that for the remote power. Just need to pop off the things on the side and then use a whatever that is, Torx 30 to remove the 2 bolts from this side, same on the other side, and then you should be able to lift that out of the way. Just get to the back so we can get to the electrical connector for that. Right, all 4 bolts removed, and they're carefully with a little spodger.
What?
Stick it in there and just lever it up. There we go, we have access to the wires. Right, this is the bit of light on this. That's already helped. That's the connector, one black wire, one yellow wire. The yellow wire is the one that turns on with the ignition. So we need to cut off the sheathing and solder a fresh wire onto it, and then protect it with a bit of loom tape. Right, the wire is wrapped around it, a bit of solder placed on it. Yeah, that's all right. I'm just going to use this bit of tape, wrap it up so it doesn't touch anything it shouldn't do. Looking good. Put it back together again. Right, all that shit's put back together again. The cable now comes out there underneath the carpet, pops out there with the rest of the cables. So I think that's where the number 5 there, I reckon. Okay, now on to the speaker cables that go into there. Let me just sort this out.
My God, I'm a tomato.
Right, that's fixed like it never happened. Okay, now we're looking at, we've got 2 wires. Now the green one on that side and the black one on that side, the larger terminals. Oh, come on fingers, for fuck's sake. There you go, that black one there, that's negative, and this fat green one here, also a negative, which means the red and the grey one are the positive. And then we need to work out which ones they go to on here. Okay, that wasn't too hard. If you look on there, you've got a 1, and then at the other end you've got a 4. So you know which numbers they are. Number 1 goes to the black wire. Number 2 goes to the red wire, which is on next to it. And number 3 goes to the green wire. And last one, number 4, goes to the white wire. So effectively it goes minus, plus, minus, plus. It's nice and easy. Right, cut a decent length of speaker cable. You can tell it's speaker cable because it's, come on.
Damn it, focus!
Speaker cable. I've already crimped and soldered the ends on, protected them all up. Obviously red and black for positive, negative. Now I just need to plug them all in there. Might throw a bit of hot glue in there just to keep it all in place. Cable is created. Now what I've done, I've obviously put some loom tape on it to create a single cable. I've marked one side with blue so I know which one's which, so I don't mix up plus and minuses. Not really an issue, but it's worth doing. And because it's really tight inside of there, I've put a little bit of black tape around the negative terminals, because when they're close together they go plus minus, and you don't want them touching each other. So just got to stuff them in there now. All stuffed in there, looking good, all clearing each other. And I'm just going to use a multimeter to check, make sure none of these are short-circuited in there. Right, just a quick passenger service announcement. If you're going to get one of these for your car, make sure you get the right one, because although they look the same, they are the same shape. This one is for a Fortwo and that one's for a Forfour. Now the Fortwo, there you go, that's the number for the Fortwo. This is the Forfour, that's the number for the Forfour. Now what's the difference? Good question. That bit of plastic there. Literally you can unscrew it. If you can get a 4.4 one, unscrew that, it turns into a 4.2 one. If you try and fit a 4.2 one into a 4.4, it's not going to meet up with the boot side, but yeah. And I don't think you can get that bit of plastic on its own. So yeah, if you get a 4.4 one, you can make it fit both. Right, that's the earth put on. There's the other connector. I've run all the cables off that direction. So now I can finally put that bit of thing, just throw the screws in. And then we just need to get to the wiring. Okay, we've got the wires. We've got the speaker wires. We've got one positive that goes to the battery, one negative that joins to the ground back there. Got the remote cable. I'll cut that back, it's a bit too excessive. And finally, we need to send music from the stereo into the amplifier. Now, if you've got a standard stereo, you are going to need to use the high level speaker inputs. And I've got a little connector here. What you have to do is just connect the speaker outputs from the back of the stereo, left plus mirror, that sort of shit. So that you left off, obviously have to extend it because it's a bit short. If you've got an aftermarket stereo, it will probably have RCA connectors. So instead of using that connector for the high inputs, use the low level inputs, and that is so much easier. So we need to connect these up behind the stereo because I've got a Pioneer, and run it down underneath the carpet into there. Once we've done that, just connect everything together. And I just called this thing all the cunts under the sun. Look on the back of it. No RCA.
Wankers!
I was fucking fuming. And then I realised that there's actually a connector there. So what I actually had to do was look over there in a big pile of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
I found that. Thank fuck for that. Might actually get finished today. Read it and weep. Subwoofer output. Alright, so that's going in the back there. Get these cables, post them all down there, make them come out there, underneath the carpet, and appear here. And as if by a blink of an eye, it'll happen. Watch this. Ta-da! They go in there. They pop out just beyond there. I've run them down beyond this panel, down beyond there. On this particular amp, most of them are the same. You get these little screws with a square washer. You can wrap the wire around it, tighten it down if you really want to. Since I'm near the end and I've sort of done it right properly so far, I thought I'd go for a bit of these. These are little crimp-on things. I'm not going to crimp them on. I'm going to solder them because I never have much luck with crimps. And yeah, they'll go in there and get clamped down with these. So I've just got to get those four on the speaker terminals and that on the remote cable. We've done too good a job there. That's the problem. Making myself look bad for everything else I've done. Right, simple enough. Left and right, plus and minus. Just left and right one side. Both the speaker terminals wide up in there. It's the little blue remote wire. We've got the earth cable, black. Finally, we've got the RCA cables. And the last thing to do is connect it up to the battery.
Bitching and moaning.
And let's not forget, we've got to put the fuse in line. So obviously decide whereabouts you want to put it. Cut the cable, we'll start threading. Now, if we have a look at this, the end screws off. It's got a little rubber bung. I'm assuming it's for if you've got it outside the car, but we haven't, so not a major issue. I need to bear some of the wire back, loosen that off, plonk it in there, tighten it up. First thing to do, plastic cap, rubber grommet, same on the other end, plastic cap, rubber grommet. You need to stop bearing that back. You piece of shit. I'm going to cut back about 10 mil, I think. Normally you just put that in and tighten it down. I'm tempted to flow a bit of solder onto that. Sweet. No fires, it's good. Right, now hopefully, when we turn the car on, that green light will come on. Place your bets now.
Here, $1.
Yes. Green light. I've already put the Velcro in position. And now I can just stick it against the bulkhead. Looking tidy there. Once you've got the seat, well, once you've got the seat folded back, you can't see it anyway. And obviously the final part about making the thing actually work is to plug it in. Right way around, plug it in. Now this needs to fold over that. Like, make sure the cable's all out the way, of course. Now, this needs to be lifted up, pushed in, let down. And that is locked in place. Music time. Shut up. Oh yeah, it's not too bad. I've had to re-record this with different music because the last music was slightly copyright, even though Linus Tech Tips seems to use it all the time, so you can probably work out what that song was. Yeah, it sounds alright. Like, once you've dialed in the EQ, which you can do on the stereo I've got, I turned off the bass boost for the front, so all the bass was just being sent to the bass speaker in the boot, and yeah, then adjusted the amplifier slightly, and yeah, it sounds good. One thing I probably will do though is it's got a slight bit of movement, and I'm worried about it rattling, so I'm tempted to stick maybe a little bit of rubber. Like a little rubber gasket or O-ring in there, just to stop it rattling. But apart from that, yeah, it's quite good. I've got one of the rubber washers, cut the middle out of it. Actually fits in there quite nicely. Now, can I actually get that to fit in there with that extra thickness? And the answer to that is yes. It's now much more secure. Right, conclusion time. Now I've fitted this, do I recommend anyone else do it? No, of course not. That's just a pain. Instead, don't bother your ass. Just go and get some of this. Under seat subwoofer. This one's Kenwood. It's got an amplifier built into it. All the wiring's nice and easy. Plus you get a remote control, so you can actually turn the volume up and down, the frequency and the phase and that sort of stuff. And it just fits underneath the seat. You know, why piss around with all that cutting stuff out? You know, once you've bought the parts, these are usually like less than 150 quid. You can get cheap ones, obviously, but yeah, don't bother your ass. Just buy something like that. Oh, in fact, links in the description for most of this shit, because affiliate links, because money. Now, I've just spent days creating the video you've just seen, and just get an email from YouTube telling me about my year on YouTube to 2024. What a waste of fucking time. Check this shit out. Wow. Wow. Whole 684 new subscribers in a year. Don't know why I fucking bother. In fact, I might not. This video, straight hat please. This video probably would have come out 2 days earlier on Patreon obviously. But when I actually came to exporting the video, I use iMovie because it's just nice and easy. It got 25% of the way through and then just stopped. I went online and did the standard searches, tried everything that it said to do, no chance, still didn't work. I thought, oh, I don't really want to have to re-edit the whole thing again, so is there anything out there that used the original iMovie libraries? Final Cut Pro, brilliant. Final Cut Pro, 299 quid, so add that to the price of the channel. Uploaded the iMovie library into Final Cut Pro, exactly the same thing. Got 25% and stopped. I tried everything. I even updated the Mac OS, which I never do because it never goes well for me. Eventually, when I was using Final Cut Pro, I noticed that it stopped at a certain point, but it still created the video file. So I could actually go through the video file and see where it cut off. And every single time, just before it failed, there was a slow motion section with the audio. I deleted all the slow motion sections, which is why this whole thing is a bit choppy, and then it worked fine. So now I'm wondering if, because previously I always used to take the audio out and then put music over it. So now I'm wondering if I take the audio out and that's the issue, I can put either nothing, because they're only like short clips, put a bit of music on it and it might work. I might have to do another edit of this fucking video. Brilliant.